What's going on, family? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Freddie Johnson, aka Freddie's Blades, aka DJ Doxology. Once again, reaching out to you, real quick. Right now, it is Saturday evening, and it's a little bit after 11. I still got two more clients to cut. It's 11 p.m. right now. Been out and about in these streets since about 8:30 this morning. And I wanted to take a little time out to just share something with you, kind of challenge your thought just a little bit with a quick question. What is your biggest fear? What is your biggest fear? Are you afraid of spiders? You have arachnophobia? Are you afraid of outer space? Do you have astrophobia, like it was said in the in the Disney movie? What is your biggest fear? Now let's get to the real stuff. Do you have a fear of success? And if you have a fear of success, is it a fear of succeeding itself? Do you have a fear of failure after success? Do you have a fear of the responsibilities of success, the notoriety of success, the fame of success? You understand what I'm saying? The hate that comes with success. What is your biggest fear? What is your biggest fear? It's very important for you to get real with that and face that head on, because of the fact that what we're going to talk about today is how to get delivered from fear, how to get free from fear. Okay. One big thing about me is the fact that I really strongly dislike for anyone that I care about or anyone that even know to be bound by fear, to be caught up by fear, to be arrested by fear. Because one thing I know that fear does, fear it puts you in a place where it kind of freezes you. You know, fear stifles you. Fear kind of gets you choked up to where it affects your ability to be able to go forward and accomplish whatever it is that's challenging you. And so for those who have that challenge, for those who are caught up with that and on that, I just want to take a little bit of time to help you, okay? Because of the fact that there are some that are walking around and you pretty much feel like there's a lot of other people in this world doing their thing, and it doesn't seem like they have any fears. It doesn't seem like, you know, anything's holding them down or anything's holding them back. It seems like they're just, you know, walking around, just shining, just doing their thing. You know, they're putting their business out there, they're putting their talents out there, they're putting their skills out there, and everybody's just loving them and just eating it up. And, you know, all of a sudden, all these people are becoming overnight successes. And I want to share with you the fact that 9 times out of 10, nothing can be farther from the truth. Okay? One of the main ways to be able to overcome your fear is, one, to face it. 9 times out of 10, when you actually face the very thing that you are afraid of, it's not nearly as bad as those pictures or those movies that kept playing in your mind. It's not as bad as those rumors that you were hearing from people who probably don't even really have the experience with what you've been afraid of, but they like to run their mouth. So for that reason, you know, and they like to sound like they know what they're talking about. So for those reasons, they seem very convincing when they are thoroughly describing these things that you may be afraid of, that you may be anxious of, or things of that nature. And another thing to keep in mind is the fact that when you are afraid of something, it's consuming your mind, it's taking up space, it's taking up energy, and you're spending so much time entertaining and giving energy to something that's probably never going to happen. And if it does happen, it's not going to happen as nearly as bad as you imagine for it to happen. So you're putting all this time, all this energy, making all of these decisions around this very thing that you've been avoiding for so long, And a lot of times it seemed like once you actually face it, it was for nothing. Like, oh man, I was all afraid because of this. Man, I can't believe it. I spent so much time, so much energy, played so many movies in my mind over this, lost sleep over this, messed up relationships over this. And so that's why it's so very important that you face the fear, because another thing that it's going to do is that fear is going to rob you. It's not only going to put you in a frozen state, but it's also going to rob you. It's going to steal some things from you. It might be time. It might be relationships. It might be some situations that you want to be in, some dreams that you might have, some things that are on your bucket list. But because you have certain fears, it's stopping you from going ahead and experiencing those things that you want to experience with your life. Understand that time goes by very fast. That life is not promised to any of us, from not even from day to day, but from minute to minute. So it's very important for us to be able to place ourselves in a position where we are going towards victory, that we are going towards, running towards that very thing that had been trying to bully us, that very thing that might have been trying to stifle you, that very thing that might have been trying to, go ahead and taunt you every single day and trying to haunt you every single day. Once you face that thing, and then when you get to a place where you're overcoming that thing, then you are going to walk so much freer than you ever had in your life. You're going to feel so much better about yourself than you ever had in your life. One very important thing to understand is the very fact that the only difference between a hero and a coward is the fact that the hero feels the fear just like the coward. The coward feels the fear and runs and hide and ducks and take, other routes or maybe even shortcuts so that they don't have to come across that very thing that they were afraid of. The hero feels the fear and does it anyway. The hero feels that anxiety. They feel those butterflies. The hero hears those same voices that try to haunt him and her, or try to taunt him or her, or try to threaten him or her, with the gain of something that they don't want, or the loss of something that they do want. So what they decide to do is go ahead and to do it anyway. So when you go ahead and feel that fear, you feel that anxiety, you feel that stress, you feel that pressure trying to push you away, and you go ahead and do it anyway, you're going to find yourself in a position where you are going to be stronger than you ever thought you'd ever be. You are going to be wiser than you ever thought you'd be. You're going to be better than you ever thought you'd be, because you're now going to have something that you can be able to line up everything in your life that comes after that against. You're going to be able to say to yourself, if I could be able to overcome this fear over here, then I can be able to overcome this fear or this obstacle that I'm going through now. You're now going to have a track record. You're now going to have something that you can put up as a litmus test against that thing that you're dealing with now, that thing that is facing you now, that thing that is threatening you now, that thing that is trying to taunt you and bully you now. If you really want to be on the road to victory, if you really want to be on the road to better, if you really want to be on the road to being a conqueror, to being that one that you can't scare away, that you can't run off, if you want to be that one who faces challenges, if you want to be that one who overcomes obstacles and lives a victorious life, you must do these things. You must face that fear. You must overcome that fear. You must place yourself in a position to where even as you're on your way to that thing that's threatening you, even as you're on your way to that thing that's taunting you, to that thing that's trying to bully you, you talking junk. You talking smack. You talking big. Because what you're going to need to do when you're on your way there, for one, you're going to need to drown out that voice or those voices that are trying to scare you, that are trying to get you to run the opposite way. You're going to have to out talk that joker. And what's beautiful is when you open your mouth and you speak, you're hearing yourself twice. You're hearing yourself from your inner ear and your outer ear. So what's happening is you could possibly even be double teaming that voice that is trying to speak against you. That voice that is trying to feed you fear. That voice that is trying to feed you anxiety or that stress or that pressure that causes you to run in the opposite direction. Instead, you're going to be running towards that thing that's threatening you, because most likely on the other side of that thing is your promise. On the other side of that thing is your goal or the road to your goal. On the other side of that thing is your victory or the road to your victory. So if you really want it for yourself, and that's one question that you definitely have to ask yourself, how bad do I want it? If you really want it for yourself, not only for yourself, but for your loved ones. You might have some little ones that are watching you. And they may not be your biological children. They may be your nieces or your nephews. Or you may be a teacher and you have students that are watching you, students that are waiting, because you might have been transparent one day and shared that fear with them. So they might be waiting for you to go ahead and to share that story of that victory over that fear. Why? Because they have the opportunity at that point to live vicariously through you. They have the opportunity to be able to see themselves on the other side. They have the opportunity to see themselves victorious, to see themselves courageous, to see themselves brave. And because of the fact that you were the first one to throw the rock, now they can go ahead and do the same thing. Their rocks may be small, right? Or they might have to borrow somebody else's rock to throw, because the one that they had, they might have thrown it away out of fear because they didn't want to look threatening to that very thing that was trying to taunt or to bully them. So they might have the courage now to grab somebody else's rock and throw it. You understand what I'm saying? You're going to give other people the opportunity, the freedom to be able to go ahead and free themselves, to be able to go ahead and walk in freedom, to be able to go ahead and be free of that fear. So when you're faced with something that looks like that thing, you're going to remember overcoming it. You're going to remember conquering it. You're going to remember being victorious over that thing. You're going to remember what it was that you said to yourself that caused you to be courageous. So when you have to face that thing again, if you have to face that thing again, you're not going to be as nearly as afraid. You're not going to be nearly as anxious. You're going to have confidence because you beat it before. So you're going to be able to tell yourself, man, if I beat it before, I can beat it again. If I conquered it before, I can conquer it again. If I did it before, I can do it again. And sometimes, you may have to place yourself in a position where you're in deep prayer and meditation, to place yourself in a position mentally and spiritually to where you can be able to handle what you're about to face. You're now filled up. I'm not talking puffed up, but you're filled up with what you need in order to be able to be that conqueror that you need to be. So you can go ahead and you can face that thing now with experience, now with some skill, now with some history, now with a memory of being a conqueror, a memory of being an overcomer, a memory. Because here's what's going to happen. And I've had a lot of experience dealing with bullies. I grew up in the hood, right? So in facing those bullies, what I found out was those bullies really didn't want to fight. Those bullies were feeding on what they thought was fear. Those bullies were feeding on what they thought was intimidation. They were feeding on what they thought was a big I and a little you type of situation. But once I faced those individuals, then you seen the tables turn. When I faced those individuals, it was obvious who the victor was going to be. When I faced those individuals, I've seen even a change in their eyes. I've seen a change in their countenance. I've seen a change in their body language. Not only at that point, but from that point on. But being the person that I am, I'm not going to walk around and try to turn around and bully them. Instead, in some cases, I befriended the individual. In some cases, the person just wasn't friendly. So they just knew to leave me alone, and I was over in my corner doing my thing, and they were over in their corner doing their thing. See, when you're free from your fear, then you can be free to live your life. Sometimes that thing that you might have been afraid of or had some anxiety of, or that thing that just might been just taunting you, and you might even just been trying to ignore it, might end up being some type of ally, something that will assist you along the way. Or it might be just one of those situations that, it just won't bother you anymore because it's at a place where it feeds on that fear, it feeds on that anxiety, so it'll find someone else to bother. That thing or that person will find someone else to bully. They'll find someone else. And you can encourage that person. Don't be afraid of them. Come on, man. Like, come on, girl. Like, come on. Man up. Woman up. Trust me, you'll be fine. And at that point, you might see the nervousness in their eyes. And at that very point, they might look to you and see the strength that you have. And they also might see how that bully responded to what you were saying. And so they might have seen a glimpse of weakness in that bully, and it might have just given them just enough courage to be able to stand up and fight. Or they might have gotten to the point where, okay, my back is against the wall right now, and I have decided that enough is enough. So because I've decided enough is enough, and I have this person right here in the corner coaching me, I'm going all out. I'm kicking, I'm screaming, I'm doing what I gotta do. I'm throwing sticks, I'm throwing rocks, anything I can do to get this bully out my face and to get this thing off my back. So it's important to understand at the end of the day, we were born to be conquerors. At the end of the day, we were born to be victorious. We weren't born to sit around and allow life to beat on us, to allow life to rule us. We're born to rule. We're born to dominate. We're born to be conquerors. We're born to have dominion. We're born to have authority. We're not born to be one that is slapped around all the time. We're not born to be one that is, laughed at, joked on all the time, clowned all the time. Nah. We're born to be that one that has victory, a victorious life, and a victorious story, and a triumphant history, and a triumphant present, and a triumphant future. And we're in a position where we can go ahead and encourage somebody who may not be as strong as we are. We can go ahead and encourage somebody who may be looking to us for strength and looking to us for what they need in order to be able to win. We were born to coach those individuals and be that strength that they need, because we all are helpers one to another. So when it comes to business, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to life, it might be a roller coaster ride that you may have some fear of. You might need to go on that ride. Going on that ride may help you with tons of other things that you're going to face in your life. And you might say to yourself, man, if I could conquer this, I can conquer anything. I've been afraid of this roller coaster since I was 7 years old. And because of that, I allowed other things to get in my way because I didn't face that fear. See, that's another thing that is going to do, is going to set a precedence. You facing that fear is going to set a precedence for other things that you'll be able to face and that you'll be able to conquer. And it's going to give you examples to share with other people as you're helping them with their fear. You're going to be like, you know what? I used to be afraid of something. And they're going to look at you, their hero, the one that can do no wrong, the one that, levitates just about an inch and a half off the floor everywhere you go. And their eyes are going to be wide open. And they're going to look at you. They're going to say, really? You was afraid of something? Oh yeah, I was afraid of something. Let me share this with you. And you share it with them. And all of a sudden you're going to notice their head is going to be lifted a little higher. The shoulders are going to be squared a little bit more. The chest is going to be out. Their back is going to be straightened. And you've given them the hope that they need to face their fear. They don't always have to see you overcome that fear. Some just have to know that it can be done. That's it. That's all some people have to know. That it can be done. This fear can be overcome. Wow. Really? You did what? And what happened? And how did you respond? And how did that thing that you were afraid of respond? Really? Wow. And it's going to give them hope that they never had. So because of the fact that you've overcome that fear, you've given them what they needed to overcome their fears. Whether it's those little ones we were talking about that were in your class, they might be your children, they might be family members, they could even be people that are older than you, that are maybe watching one of your videos or reading one of your books or watching a biopic about your story, about your truth, about what you've experienced and what you've accomplished and what you've been able to overcome. And because you were able to do that thing or do those things, then that gives them what they need in order to be able to either do the same thing or something totally different that they may be facing in their lives. So I hope I said something that can help somebody, something that can empower somebody. Face your fears. Because, I read a book that says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And another scripture says, God did not give us the spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. So it's best to go ahead and claim that thing. I have power. I have the spirit of power. I have the spirit of love. I have a sound mind. And to walk with that and to believe that, even if you have to tell yourself that every morning and every day during lunch and every night before you go to bed, and voice record yourself saying these things and have it playing over and over again, on your lunch break, throughout the course of the day, when you're commuting to and from work, when you're in the bed about to go to sleep, and you have these things that are playing in your head, and it's your voice. So when you're hearing yourself encourage you in your own way, and it's empowering you to overcome that fear. And it'll be good also if you are the type of person that won't necessarily remember all the details, to document it, write it down, write down the steps, because they're going to want to know what happened. Give me the detail. You never know what details are going to help people. You never know what details is going to be that thing that sparks something in them. And all of a sudden now it's like, I got it. I can do it. All right, let's go. You understand what I'm saying? So it's very important that we understand who we are and whose we are, and that we walk in that. I believe that I'm a child of God. I believe that God has called me to be a king and to be a priest. And you can't be a king And you can't be a priest and be effective if you're free of anything. Of anything. You know, the Bible talks about God deliver me from all my fears. So you want to be delivered from all your fears. You want to be free from all your fears. Don't just count 1 or 2 and say, hey, I got it. No, if you got one little something that's lingering, man, get it. And get it out the way. There's only 2 fears that we're born with. The fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. Every other fear is learned. So, just like you learn those fears, you can unlearn those fears. You can outgrow those fears and place yourself in a position where you'll reign supreme as a champion. You'll reign supreme as victorious. You'll reign supreme with great, great glory and with a great accomplishment that you can be godly proud of. So, let's overcome our fears. Let's overcome our fears. You don't want to have anything holding you down. You don't want to have anything holding you back. You don't want to have anything keeping you in the house or keeping you from finding your soulmate or keeping you from finding that ideal business partner or those investors or keeping you to reaching out to that soul that you can win for Christ or keeping you from reaching out for that job opportunity or for that promotion or for that success that you've always dreamed of. Going past that glass ceiling that's been over your head, stopping you from accomplishing that dream, that goal, that thing that you keep on your screensaver, whether it's on your laptop or it's on your computer at your cubicle. You want to be able to overcome anything that's stopping you from accomplishing what you need to accomplish in your life. Sometimes fear can try to get in the way of our needs. Nah, you need to overcome that fear in order for you to survive, in order for you to be able to live with yourself, in order for your family to be able to get what they need. You need to overcome that fear. And when you do, they're going to thank you. When you do, your hand is going to be raised. When you do, there's going to be a party. There's going to be a party. And guess what? People are going to come out of the woodworks to celebrate. And the person you least expect is going to come to you for advice. The person you least expect is going to come to you and apologize. The person you least expect is going to come to you and share their fear and ask for help in some kind of way. They're going to want to know, man, how'd you do it? I've been wrestling with this for 20 years. Man, how'd you do it? I've been wrestling with this in the dark, alone, with nobody to reach out to. How did you do it? And you're going to be able to tell them. You're going to be able to share it with them. See, this talk is not to motivate you. Nah. We want real change. Motivation only lasts for a few days and it's over. Nah, we're talking real change. We're talking solid change. You have to write it down 1,000 times. I will not be afraid of ... I will face ... with courage. I will face ... with strength. I will face ... as a hero. ... is not going to defeat me. ... is not going to get the best of me. ... is not going to rob me of my future. Dot, dot, dot is not going to rob me of my business. Dot, dot, dot is not going to rob me of my wife. Dot, dot, dot is not going to rob me of this network that's going to take my empire to the next level. I won't allow it. I won't be denied. It's mine. This goal, that goal, this vision, it's mine. Dot, 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 it's mine. It belongs to me, and I'm not going to let anything get in the way of me having that. This is how you overcome the fear. You're still going to feel it when you're on your way to it. You're still going to feel it when it's time to face it. You're still going to feel it when the lights go up. You might be afraid of talking in front of people. You might be afraid of sharing one of your talents in front of people, whether it's singing, whether it's rapping, playing instruments, reciting. You might have a dissertation that you might want to share. It could be anything. It could be a book that you might have been afraid to release. You haven't written, but you might be afraid to release it for whatever reason. Man, overcome that thing. Watch what happens. Watch what happens. Face it. Make sure you're speaking right on your way to conquering it. Overcome it. And share your victory with someone else, so they can have victory over fear as well. Let's get there. And let's get there together. All right? So I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a blessed night. I'll holla at y'all. Peace.